Let's see, does this thing even record very well? I don't know what the audio it's even using. Let's see. Okay, microphone is the AirPods. So if I wanted to start some type of podcast, what would I do? Let's see, let's talk about something I've been working on recently. And that is whether or not to go put solar panels on my house. Now, I live in Texas, North Texas area. For some reason, I don't trust you all. I don't really want to tell you exactly where I live, but I live in the North Texas area. And so we bought this house a couple years ago, like 2 years ago. I'm looking for my notes that I made. Oh, here it is. And I've always, look, I've been interested in putting solar panels on my house for probably about 10 years. And yeah, here it is. And I've never done it. 10 years ago, it was like very expensive, a lot more expensive. Actually, I don't even know if it was that much more expensive, but it seemed a lot more daunting. Not a lot of people were doing it. Technology probably wasn't there. The install base wasn't there, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been looking at it, I don't know, here and there for 10 years. So um, I'm really close now to moving forward with it. And I'll tell you why. Because typically, um, I'm always like a numbers person when it comes to like making a decision like this. Like um, recently, we've had to purchase cars, and so what I did was, and I guess this could be another video on how to drive an electric car on a budget, because I'm always on a budget. I have three kids, they're involved in lots of activities, and there's not a lot of cash flow. So it's not like I got extra cash laying around all the time. So my motivation is always, how can I, one, be financially efficient, and two, move towards doing whatever my part for sustainable energy. I feel like it's very important. Um, so anyhow, um, so so basically, yeah, you can do an electric car on a budget. But I did the numbers. I ran the numbers, and I was like, look, if you want a car that'll basically pay for itself, then I went with a Chevy Volt. And there's a lot of reasons I went with a Chevy Volt. First gen Chevy Volt, so you get it. It's not too expensive. Car payment's about $200 a month, and especially now with gas prices, it pays for itself. If you had a gas powered car, it has some downsides. It's not You're not going to be a full electric driver depending on how much you drive. But anyhow, that's another story. I guess I could do a whole nother take on that. But getting back to the solar panels on the house, I've been kind of doing the numbers, and the numbers I think are finally there that make sense to me. Um, I've priced on Tesla's website. I've had like someone come out from what's the name of the company? I don't know. They're in Home Depot and Costco, and they called me in Costco one day, and I thought, well, if Costco's affiliated with these people, it's probably going to be a good price. Um, and so they came out to the house and talked to me and talked through prices, and it was really expensive. I don't know if I still have the quote, but they were almost like, basically I could get a Tesla system with two power walls, I think, for the same price of a solar system with no power walls for the house. And so anyway, so I think Tesla is probably the cheapest, although I've read quite a few customer reviews that it's hard for people to get in touch with their customer service. So that's going to be the trade-off there. Um, it's all going to be internet based. There's not going to be like a person that you can pick up the phone probably and get in touch with. But nonetheless, I'm using their pricing as sort of a guide. And one thing that I've learned is that it's going to be probably different for everyone, because however your local utility deals with net metering. And net metering is basically when your solar panels are producing more energy than your house is. Where does the energy go? Well, the net metering allows your meter to run backwards, so you're putting the extra energy that's generated back onto the grid. So the power company is taking that and sending it wherever, right? So I have CoServ here where I am, and The downfall to that is that, or the positive is that, one, they do net metering. The downfall is that your bill credits are only good for that month, so nothing rolls over. So let's say your solar system produces like 1,200 kilowatt hours a month in the month, but you only use 900, right? So that would be 300 kilowatt hours that you're basically just giving the power company. They're not going to let it roll over. So basically, how it works is that, let's say day day 1 and 2 of your bill cycle, you use 50 kilowatts less. Well, they're going to make a credit of that. And so then day 3 and 4, if you use those extra kilowatts, they're not going to charge you for that. So what you have to try to do is you have to try to size this. You have to try to estimate and size your solar system to basically not give away any extra power, because then you're just giving away value. I mean, it doesn't make sense to spend extra money on a bigger solar system and just give away the value, right? Because the value of the solar system is that you have an asset on your house, right? And that asset costs money. In my case, I'll be planning on taking a loan. I don't have the $40,000 or $30,000 to lay out, at one time. So I'll be looking at a loan. So the way I look at it as, okay, so I have an asset on my house, I have a loan against that, um, and then so the value is in getting as close to not having a power bill. So taking what you would be sending to the power company, say $200 for electricity. So instead of sending that $200 for electricity that you're purchasing through the power company, you take that $200 and you're paying towards an asset that's on your home. So the key in this is financially. The key is that very thing, is that you have an asset on your home. And so I've also done a lot of digging around and trying to figure out how much value a solar system adds to the home. And so I looked around, dug around on the internet, and basically came up. There were some figures. I can't remember exactly. Or did I write it down? There's some calculations, based on, it adds like $5,000 of value for each kilowatt hour or something installed. I can't remember exactly. But the point being is that what I looked at with my system, and maybe this will be the general overview, and then the next video I'll do like a sort of a breakdown of how the cost played out for me. Um, so in the end, the idea is that you purchase an asset to put on your home. All right, probably take 10 years to pay for that asset, to pay for the loan, let's say. So the idea is that you're going to be spending money every month on electricity. So if what your asset does is reduce the amount of money you're paying for electricity, and you're not probably, it's not going to come out equal every month where you have a zero electricity bill. It's just not going to happen. Um, it's not going to happen in my case, because CoServe won't allow me to, like for the spring, like March and April, maybe May, where my energy consumption is very low. There's no sense in me paying for a huge system and just giving them a bunch of free energy. So I have to size it to where on those months I'm not giving away free energy, but I'm also maximizing the value in, the hot months, July, August, and September. So I mean, those months I'm going to owe some. I'm not going to offset my energy use 100%. It doesn't make economic sense. I could get a big, huge system. I could get battery packs, but you're talking about doubling the cost, which, in my opinion, doesn't really make that much sense. So I'm just basically looking to bump up right where I can, with just a solar system without the battery pack, because the battery pack is just so expensive. It doesn't make any financial sense. It sounds cool. Yeah, you get a battery backup. But honestly, I can go down to Costco. I could get a generator that's 700-800 bucks. We had the freeze out here where we were out of power like 4 days. But if I had that generator, I could run everything I needed to run in my house. I mean, honestly, I could run all the refrigerators. I could run the internet. We had gas, so we had hot water. But assuming that I had electric, hot water heater would be big enough to run the hot water heater. You just have to manage it a little bit. Okay, it's not as chic, it's not as cool as saying I got a Tesla battery backup system, but those things are like $11,000 each. Okay, and also you think about the value over 10 years. So over 10 years, they estimate that the efficiency of the Powerwall is going to be down to 70%. So you're losing 30% of the value of the battery pack over 10 years. And so to me, I mean, how many? I pay 12.9 cents kilowatt hour. So in order for that Powerwall to pay for itself, let's see, 11,005. Let's just say, because you get the credit, so let's just say it's $8,000, which is probably a little more than that. Let's say divided by 12.9, that's 62,000 kilowatt hours. Okay, so that is that I use in a month. The busiest, the highest demand month I think I've had is 3,600 kilowatt hours. So it would take like 20 of those busiest months of just pulling that extra excess power out of the battery wall that it's capturing to pay for itself. So that's saying that over and above, and it can only hold a certain amount of kilowatts. So it's like, that's a good question. I never even thought about that. How many kilowatts? So how many full cycles would that thing have to go through to pay for itself? How many kilowatts? Kilowatt hours. Tesla battery pack. Tesla, what's it called? Tesla Powerwall. Each Powerwall holds 12.2 kilowatt hours. Okay, so what did I say? I said $8,000 divided by, so that's 62,000. So that thing is going to have to cycle through 5,000 times. It's going to have to cycle through with full collected energy. And so divided by 365. So it'll be 13 years, I guess, if that's assuming if it fills itself up every day and cycles itself all the way out every day, it would take 14 years for it to pay for itself. 14 years for it to pay for itself. That's assuming that you fill it up every day. But also, after 10 years, you're going to be losing efficiency. So after 10 years, it's only going to be doing 12.2 times 7.7. So it's only going to be, in 10 years, it's only going to be able to hold 8 kilowatts, 8.5 kilowatts. So you're going to lose 30% of your efficiency. So my guess is you're looking at 16, 17 years for it to pay for itself. So unless you just like want to defer that and want to get a bigger tax credit, and get some power walls or something, and I don't know. I can't make in my mind the power wall make sense. I think the solar panels make sense a lot quicker. And my goal is not to be 100% off grid. I mean, I don't have that kind of. I mean, if I had tons of extra money, sure, it sounds great. I'd put 4 power walls in here and put as many solar. I put fucking friggin' better watch my mouth. I'd do whatever I could. I put a friggin' windmill on top of my house with solar panels, but that's not realistic. Anyhow, so this is how I've gone about thinking about this decision over 10 years, really. So, I would love to offset what I pay, at least 75% offset that I'm generating my own electricity on my house. Because one, I drive, I'm just going to stay, I drive plug-in hybrid. It's a Gen 1 Volt, so it's not completely electric, but I'm moving in that direction. And so I'd love to be able to, I mean, that's another factor that you're looking at. You're looking at, you're not buying gas. I mean, look at the cost of gas now. It's $5, basically almost $5 a gallon at the time we're making this video. So if you have an asset on your home that's not only covering the cost of your electricity, but also the cost of your transportation energy, um, I'm not even factoring that value into my valuation. So basically, at the end, just as a little, and I'll show you how I get this number, and maybe in the next video. Basically, in the end, I figured out this is what made me decide. Okay, I gotta do this. I gotta have to move forward with this. Is that I looked at all of the cost over 10 years, cost of the loan, factored in the tax break because you do get a nice tax break once you purchase the system, so that's quite significant. So over the 10-year, I believe it's the 10-year loan, I did these notes like a few weeks ago. Um, Factor in the down payment, the monthly cost, the offset cost. I've looked at like basically the size of the system that I'm looking for, the total cost of the system over the 10 years. That means what I will pay above like what it saves, if that makes sense. I think this is the one I was looking at, the 14 kilowatt system. Looks like I have two things circled. My notes are not too clear. I think it's around $5,700. Okay. I have $2,500 circled there. Oh, okay, that I didn't put the down payment in there. So with the down payment, the total cost is $5,700. That's over 10 years. So that's the amount I'm paying above the energy offset, right? So if it produces 200 kilowatts worth of energy, that $200 goes to pay the asset instead of the electric company, right? So taking the payment minus that over 10 years, it's like $5,200 total cost, including the down payment. However, don't forget, you might think, well, why would you pay something extra, right? It doesn't make any sense. Don't forget, it's an asset that's on your house. And so if you value the system, and I'll go into the details of this in the next one, to me, it looks like it adds about $50,000 of value to your home, $60,000 of value to your home. Because right, if someone's coming to buy your home, once they buy it and you've paid for it, it's there. That means that they don't have that cost, so they're just getting the electricity generated for that. I mean, that's a huge value, right? You could tell somebody, hey, I mean, you got $200 a month knocked off of your utility bill, and that's on today's pricing. Just this year alone, I looked at my pricing per kilowatt hour from 1 year ago in Texas. It's gone from 10 cents a kilowatt to 12.9 cents a kilowatt. You might say, well, that's 2 cents. Well, that's like 30%. Right? The price of natural gas has doubled. Um, I don't know about you guys. I don't understand how all this stuff is priced, but I don't think it's coming down. It should be coming down because there's a lot more renewable energy coming online, which is a lot cheaper. But I don't trust utility companies to be, let's say, charitable. I see them saying if we could maintain this price, and then we can get solar panels and windmills blowing free, we've got them paid for, and they're just giving at no cost producing electricity, and people are already paying this. So I think they're gonna take it to the bank. So I see this as a way of hedging energy increase cost with gasoline. Because if you drive an electric car, you're going to get solar powered right to your car when you charge it, and the increase in just home electricity. I don't know once the price goes up if it's going to come down. I don't have any expectation of it coming back down. So it's a hedge against that as well. So you can put an asset on your home that in 10 years is providing you electricity at no cost. So, I mean, it's just a bonus. It adds tons of value to your home. So, in the end, what I saw was, hey, this makes the numbers make sense to me. The numbers make sense. So, I think that even if you're someone who doesn't really, care about environmental issues. I do. That's what sort of prompted me to do this. I know I'm just one person, but if it's multiplied, which is one reason I'm making this video, it can make a big difference. So, that's how I've come to the decision. And here's what I'll try to go through next time. Here's my little note sheet of like, here's all my kilowatts that I use for the year, averaged out, and trying to size the system, the cost of the system, and everything. So I'll try to maybe go over that for you guys in the next one. So this has been really long. It's just kind of been me talking about how I want to go about this. So anyhow, that's that. That's what I've done.